Hi everyone, this is Deborah Clutter. I know I have not been around for a while. I've been really busy, but I have a project, a little special project I'm doing for a friend of mine. She wants me to quilt these pillow sham covers, and so that's what I'm going to be working on. These are little vintage butterflies she put on for a lady, and I think it'll be really cute. I have to emulate another quilter's design that did the quilt, and she's not available right now, so I'm going to do the pillowcases and try to copy what she did, and wish me luck. So I'll kind of show you what I'm going to do. So I have two pillow shams, and I put them on a piece of muslin. So my friend Deb and I, we went and got the muslin yesterday, and I'm using some white cotton batting because the background of this is white and we don't want it to show through. You should see her piecing. Her piecing and her ironing are beautiful. Her applique is beautiful. So this will be fun to work on. Now she wants me to echo around the butterflies. I've never echoed around anything, just on my embroidery machine. Not really a fan of echoing, but we're gonna give it a try. It'll be the first time I've done it on my long arm. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'll probably trace around the butterflies as I'm stitching in the ditch, and then I'll use my computer to echo those out and see what happens. Let's get started. One of the first things I'm gonna do is stitch the pillowcase down. And you can tell I got two pieces of batting. It was cheaper for us to buy the two small packages of batting than to buy one. So this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and start with the top. And let's turn on the channel locks real quick, and I'm just going to run across and make sure I got it kind of where I want it before I start stitching. And that looks pretty good. So my friend Deb is a long armor, and she has her own long arm machine. And I really don't want to go that far. Start over. I think that's too close, or too, yeah. Usually stitch pretty close to the edge, and I just didn't do that. So I don't like it. Let's take that out real quick. Maybe not real quick, but so Deb was telling me that the way she learned to piece was instead of using pins, she stitches each intersection with a couple of stitches and then checks them before she stitches the whole seam. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I've never seen anybody do that. So when we go to the quilting retreat, I might have to film her doing that. All right, here we go. Because I think every technique is valuable. I pin. Why am I not picking up thread here? I pin every intersection, but they don't always come out perfect. Even with pinning, sometimes they might shift a little bit. So I think I am going to call Gammill and have them come out and service my machine, because there is this little bit of vibration that's happening on my machine, and I don't know if it's because we put the new floors in and all of a sudden it doesn't like being on the floor versus the carpet it was on before, Not really sure. Okay, so see if you can see what is happening here. So I'm just going to go down this side, and I'm going to just do it by, I'm just going to eyeball it instead of having the machine do it, or having the channel locks on. I can feel the batting bunching up under there, so I'm going to make sure it's nice and flat. The channel locks on, it's actually pretty easy. I mean, not with the channel locks, but with the belts on, it's pretty easy just to go down. So we can only go that far, so I'm going to stop. And I'm going to go down the other side. Grab my clamp things. My clamp riser. It goes the other way. There we go. I got thread all in my there we go. Now this thread was on my rails. Okay. Probably can't see what is happening over here. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one before I roll it up and do the bottom of this. With these bag clamps, it doesn't get in the way as much as the other type of clamps I had. And then I have my little riser bar thing that I made also. So at first I thought maybe I would just go stitch in the ditch around the butterfly, and then let me reposition my camera. And then I could use that on the computer and then do an echo around the butterfly and then have the machine stitch it. Only problem with that is I have to do the stitch in the ditch with the belts on, and that is not fun because it wants to go straight and not smooth curves, and there's lots of curves on this butterfly. I know that the original quilter, Sue, she did it by hand, which I could do too. It's not that big of a deal. I could freehand it and go around the butterflies. So, what do I want to do? I kind of wanted to see how it was going to echo with the machine. Decisions. And then I gotta try to copy the border that she did too, and I think she pre-motioned that one also, and it's not something I normally do, or the design isn't, and so without some practice it might be a little bit hard, so either I digitize it like she did it, or I do something else. So what would you guys do? Leave me a comment and let me know. But I did the stitch in the ditch around all the borders, and I'm getting ready to do the butterflies. So I took off the belts and I put on my ruler plate. Do I want to go this way? I think so. So we'll start right here in the corner. So I think I'm still going to try to, I can't talk and do something at the same time. I think I'm going to still try to echo around here with the machine because I've never done that and I'd like to try that. So I have my little ruler by Quilter's Apothecary. It has a little groove right here so you can put your foot. Sometimes I just do it this way. I mean, it just depends on how I feel that day, I guess. So usually I just guide it along like this. And this is how I do the stitch in the ditch. Pretty easy. Deb did a really good job on the applique. It looks really beautiful. She always does a great job on everything. All right, so that's a little bit of how I do the stitch in the ditch. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it without the camera because it gets in the way. This is what I decided to do. I took and I drew a boundary with my machine around each of the butterflies, and then I right-clicked and went to Echo Pattern, and I used 0.25, and I started off with 5 because that's how the other ones were, but they wouldn't fit. So we're just going to do 4 and go ahead and stitch those out. All right, it's doing the first echo, and then I'll have to break and continue doing the rest of them. I can only get 3 echoes. I have all the echoes done, and that's kind of what it looks like. I think I'm going to go around one more time around all of it and see what that looks like. What I did was I used draw boundary to create this boundary all the way around, and then I'm just going to turn it into a pattern. So convert boundary to pattern, and then I'll stitch that out. I have all the echo done. I kind of figured out that it was easier to leave the last echo that overlapped and then trace around it instead of the way I did this one, because you can tell when I did it manually, I got it a little too close at the top over here because it's harder to see that side. I mean, it looks fine, but, and then this one I just let it overlap, and then I traced it on my computer, and it turned out much better. Except for I had to echo 2 of them around because they kind of joined after the third one. So now I have to do some free motion quilting, so I took off the belts and I'm going to get started. Working on the borders, and I ended up digitizing the borders because my friend Sue had quilted it a particular way that I didn't know how to, well, I know how to do it, but I'm not very, I haven't practiced doing it. So I just digitized it, and it looks like it's turning out okay. And you can't really see it because it just kind of blends in. This is what it looks like on the screen. Just a little simple border design. I digitized it off of her quilting. As you can see, I just have to do the background fill on this pillow, or this pillow sham. It's a pillow sham. I did all the background fill on this one, and I just need to do the cornerstones and these borders after I get this border done, and then I'll be done. I'm all finished, and I'm just gonna take a look at it, make sure I didn't miss anything. But I'm all finished, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off the frame and get ready to unroll it. Let's see. Let's start with this in. All right, it looks really pretty. There's really not that much up here at the top, so I am just going to pull it off. And you're wondering how I pull it off when it has staples in it, and that's how I do it. Simple as that. There's no staples in the leader. The staples are in the fabric right here, and they're just easy to pull out. No big deal. So go ahead and trim this up, and I'll lay it out so you can take a look at it. Here's the final pillow shims. Looks like they're for king size, because this is a king size bed. So, and this is how they turned out. And I think it turned out pretty good. And here's the other one. Pretty cute. Now, all of these butterflies were from this lady's family's clothing, and some of them are pretty old. And so my friend Deb took all the butterflies. They were already appliqued on something else, and she took them all off and reapplied them to this because the lady didn't like how it looked before. So, and I think she did a really good job. It looks really beautiful. Thanks for watching.